reading, so we're going to do it together. So I might need to take a break and grab some water, but...
Get closer to the microphone.
Thank you. I need to learn to project, right? I don't want to mess with their mic. I also DJ as well as work my 9 to 5 and write, so...
You can think about it here.
So, Dan and I are talking outside about writing and finding your voice, and I'm really excited to be here because he is just a champion of local poetry, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Is it?
You
Okay.
just need to tilt it down.
Tilt the microphone.
They won't hear.
There you go.
Okay. I will get real close. So a lot of this work is stuff that I've written recently, thank you. And I'm still workshopping, so thank you for listening, being open-minded. I do a lot of work with a workshop online, led by Desiree Della Giacomo. I don't know if I pronounced her last name right, but she is a mentor to a lot of poets who are new and emerging, and also just shouts out to her. So we'll just jump on in. So this one is called Loosely. My gender is privilege, or call me Sisyphus. By now, we've all come to understand that gender is a social construct, yes. That when the commercial advertising the HPV vaccine comes on and mentions that both males and females can be affected, we know they really mean everyone can be affected these days. Language means everything, and not only the kind crafted by the muscle between our teeth. We've come to understand that gender reveal parties are archaic instances of misplaced celebrations, and that pink and blue do not a person define. Rather, it's the gold glisten of the crown we place upon our own heads, crested by comfort, anointed with identity, crashing into the undulating waves of alphabet soup slashed about in a brilliant reef that sits upon the greatest earthquake path in history, the binary fault. When AMAB stands not only for all minds are beautiful, and AFAB actually means to say all fruits are bountiful, the taste becomes sweet on our tongues. And we drink from the tsunami waters, our hands cupped, racing to quench the insatiable thirst for safety. We learn every day to rise from the paper-thin shells we cast aside, coming to life after 7 circadian years underground. Vibrational vessels scattering like creatures of night when the sun pierces the horizon's soft flesh, shattering societal expectations and leaving behind archaeological shreds of presentation. When I am everything but a man and both she and they will do, I turn back the clock that someone else wound too tightly around my wrists. I swallow the key for safekeeping, my soul a safety deposit, my body storage unit stuffed to the brim, bursting at the seams with logged attempts at self-compassion and a Rolodex of sweet confusions, while throngs gather outside with cash in their hands and checks in their pockets to bid on what is left behind. My greatest feats of strength happen when I avoid addressing the issue at hand. My trickery lands my past in a sarcophagus and I fall in line with Sisyphus, our path uphill flanked by onlookers with exposed teeth and expectant eyes, waiting for us to stumble and admit it was all a mistake. To say I am lazy might be accurate. To call me a grifter wouldn't be unfair. The rogue in me recognizes the coyote in you, and we point at each other from either side of the train tracks that cleave the city in two. Just below the neighborhood in which I grew up, I'd hand over my breasts on a silver platter if you asked me to, and my kingdom for a sharper jawline that is much better to eat you with, my dear. We lick our skin as the hares lick their fur, hoping to clean ourselves of the burrs from the brambles we stumbled into on the evening that we learned there are more than 2 ways to be. I could have been 17 or 19, or it could be now, or it could be then, but what I know is I'm questioning what it means to be a woman, now that I realize my breasts do not give me dysphoria. Men in their wicked ways do. Choked up when I read, so.
It's okay, you're great.
Thank you. Actually, I'm excited here. called Highwayman's Hitch. A girl has no name, or rather, this girl has a name that rips off like Velcro. Like quick release knot, like hitch meant to unfurl. Please set this ship out to sea where I land when unmoored, rolling under waves like stingrays that skirt across ocean floors. Let's talk about all the skirts that got lost in the closet, dresses that were burned with the push-up bras, and cat eyeliner and the bronzer I never learned to master. Call me captain and set sail in waters unknown, where identity is nothing but Pandora's box, and the latch can never be secured again. And this one is long and meandering, and I think a lot about reading epic poems in high school, and I was very obsessed with Grendel and these stories of monsters and men and how we came to be, and I really try to dissect that in my own kind of way of thinking in this. It's called I Wanted to Become a Medusa Mouth. I like to think that first impressions are often most just big shadows cast by tiny trees. An initial handshake is less a symbol of acknowledgement and more a symbol of assertiveness. When I was 10, I attended a work picnic for my father's post office team. While there, I met a redwood of a man, tall, large, the type of man who undeniably thinks he's always in charge. And when my father introduced us, he said, "Wow, look at how the veins on your neck bulge out when you are speaking." This was the first instance I can remember of just how easily a man can find the most vulnerable parts of a woman and chop her down. Misogyny is a buried hatchet, all at once both a ruthless racket and a soft shatter. My hand was enveloped, made minuscule by this redwood man's massive paw, and it was then that I knew instead that men are wolves. "My, what big teeth you have," we say, and before they can say, "The better to eat you with, my dear," we are swallowed whole. By the time I was in high school, I no longer stared at my veins in the mirror, because I was enduring new doubts, new taunts about appearances or intelligence or anything at all. But I was also learning, ravaged by a yearning for learning, trying to find the very first stitch so I could start a quilt of the woman I was yet to become. My fingers fumbled constantly, and the young quilt was more of a wet tea towel, hung to dry over the back of a wooden chair, damp, malleable, small, frayed on the edges and already fading. Freshman year, we learned about mythology, and so it should be no surprise that Beowulf became my ultimate pathology. I wanted to be the candlelit halls that gluttony sank, the dark secret in the swamp, the mother of the creature, that victory yet to be found, the sword that does the slaying, the cold wind that is breezed by the south, and the mead that has been drunk, the long wooden tabletops on which the warriors danced. Just waiting for the moment that I could crack apart and let these men fall to the ground, leaving their broken bodies to be devoured by the Grendel that sleeps in my soul. I willed my tongue to become a nest of snakes, a den of vipers ready to strike. I wanted to become a Medusa mouth, but the slithering speech never came. I am still to this day a woman of no comebacks, no clapbacks, no sharp snapbacks, because no diamondbacks live in my throat. Instead, my body is a moat filled with toothless alligators sliding through grimy waters, glaring at the knights whose gleaming horses' hooves trample across the bridge of society because we let them cross without barrier, without challenge, without men holding other men accountable. And it turns out, after all, that I am neither. No bark and no bite. Two more, and this one is also, I guess, maybe because of a superlative related to high school in some way. It's called Voted Most Likely to Lose Track of Time. I don't want to be famous. I would miss all too much the quiet art of hunting over London fogs, delicately cloaked in the anonymity of coffee shop corners, each passing moment a testament to my superlative ability to find myself lost. Sometimes when I wonder why I'm sad most days, and why overcast skies are my greatest loves, I remember that I was born with a broken heart. I invaded the world with only a partial army, or perhaps a round table with knights missing. What I need to say is that I was actually born with with a heart housing a condition that could be described as one or more of. Pulmonic insufficiency or incompetence or regurgitation is a condition in which the pulmonary valve is incompetent and allows backflow from the pulmonary artery to the right ventricle. Today I wondered exactly how sturdy an armadillo is, and the search engine betrays the curiosity of others. A result appears asking, is an armadillo bulletproof? The only shells on the scene make up the armor we roll ourselves up inside. A lumpy ball of answers, would you rather freeze, fight, or fly? This is something I'm incredibly proud to hold. It is the actual anthology of Undercurrent, which is the workshop that I attend often on Friday nights. Desiree leads us through some incredible prompts. We study a lot of poets that are young or have made really meaningful impact in terms of bringing recognition to marginalized poets and just uplifting others. So it's really cool to be able to actually hold my poem amongst other poets who are young or new or older, just starting out, and really fascinating, fantabulous, I suppose.
Good for you.
Thank you. So, shout out to Undercurrent, I love you. And this is a love poem, so we'll end on a high note. It is difficult to write a love poem about you, not for lack of having grand statements to make about the details of our day-to-day, but in the way that the intricacies are more sly than that. The way that I love you is a canyon creek stone rumbling slowly over time across the Colorado Plateau, each brush up against exposed, crackling roots of cottonwoods long since lost to time, carving memories into skin and bone. Rather, I am the rock itself, all rough around the edges, and you are the outstretched roots that caught me as I dervish danced accidentally into your brush fire, loose and lost, uncomfortable with staying still, and forced into stability by burning in the desert. Your house has become the home where I water my plants on Wednesdays, and remember the time I weathered healing with you ever by my side, where desert ash is healthy soil, and the stone of need has been tumbled gently into a gem by the storm of you.